Many people believe that there's a Madden cover curse. It seems that whenever a player is on the cover of Madden that year, they tend to play poorly or their team miraculously loses. I'm making this video to prove that the Madden curse is still real and it is covered by facts. Let's start off with the 2009 New Orleans Saints. The 2009 New Orleans Saints season was the franchise's 43rd season in the National Football League. It was the most successful season in franchise history, culminating with the victory in Super Bowl 44. The Saints recorded a franchise record with 13 regular season victories from an improvement on their 8-8 record and 4th place finish in the National Football Conference Southern Division from 2008. As a result, the Saints advanced to the playoffs for the first time since 2006 for head coach Sean Payton. This was his 4th season with the franchise, commanding a club overall record of 36-24. The first regular season game of the New Orleans Saints 2009, they played against the Detroit Lions, winning 45-27. The next week, Saints played against the Philadelphia Eagles, winning that game 48-22. On the 3rd week, they played against the Buffalo Bills, went to 27-7. 4th week, New York Jets, they won 24-10. 5th week, they had a bye. The 6th week, they played against the New York Giants, they won 48-27. The 7th week, played against the Miami Dolphins. They won 46-34. 8th week, they played against the Atlanta Falcons. They won 35-27. 9th week, Carolina Panthers. Saints still won 30-20. Week 10, they played against the St. Louis Rams. Saints won 28-23. Next week, they played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Saints won 38-7. The next week, they played against the New England Patriots. Saints won 38-17. The next week, they played against the Washington Redskins. Saints won 33-30 in overtime. On the 14th week, they played against the Atlanta Falcons for the second time, and they beat them 26-23. When it hit week 15, they played against the Dallas Cowboys and lost 17-24. The next week, they played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the second time and lost 17-20 in overtime. On the 17th week, they played against the Carolina Panthers for the second time and they lost 10-23. We all know that the Saints won in 2009, but I gave you a little background of how outstanding Drew Brees was. His stats were: he attempted to throw the ball 514 times that season, only playing 15 games, and he completed 363 passes. He threw for 4,388 yards, 292.5 yards per game, threw for 34 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and that season his quarterback rating ended at 109.6. Madden NFL ended up making Drew Brees their cover for the 2011 Madden NFL game. The next season, Drew Brees' record, 2010, he went 11-5 for the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees' stats the 2010 season was 658 attempts, 448 completions, 4,620 yards, 288.8 yards per game, 33 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, and his quarterback rating that year ended with a 90.9, which doesn't seem too bad. They still ended up going against the Seattle Seahawks in the postseason for the wild card, but the Madden curse had other things in plan. We all know that famous play that Marshawn Lynch did that playoff game. The Saints ended up losing against the Seattle Seahawks, who were 7-9. They ended up losing 36-41. Isn't it convenient that the next guy on our list is Madden NFL 12 cover man Peyton Hillis, running back of the Cleveland Browns at that time. Now, 2011, he was, I would say, pretty bad. But let's go and look at his 2010 stats first on why he became the Madden NFL cover for 2012. In 2010, he played for 16 games, carried the ball 270 times. Carries per game were 16.9. He rushed for 1,177 yards. His average was 4.4. His yards per game was 73.6. His touchdowns were 11 that season. His longest was 48, and he had 8 fumbles. Now let's look after when he became the Madden NFL cover. The 2011 season, he had only played 10 games, carried the ball 161 times, so that's 16.1 carries per game. Only had 587 yards that season. That is half than what he had before the Madden cover. His average was 3.6 yards. He got 58.7 yards per game, only scored 3 touchdowns. His longest was 24, and he had 1 fumble that season. What do you know? The next guy on our list is Calvin Johnson, Megatron, the Madden NFL cover for the 2013 game. But like always, let's see what he did the previous season in order for him to become on the Madden cover. 2011, he played for 16 games. He had 96 receptions, 1,681 yards. His average was 17.5. His yards per game was 105.1. His longest catch was 73 yards. He scored 16 touchdowns that season and only had 1 fumble. Now let's look at after he was on the Madden NFL cover. He played 16 games, had 122 receptions, which is even better than previous, had 1,964 yards. He was close to 2,000 yards. His average was 16.1. His yards per game were 122.8. The longest catch he had that season was a 53. He only scored 5 touchdowns that season, and he had 3 fumbles. Now, there is a big difference. He had 1,964 yards that season, but only scored 5 touchdowns. Let that sink in for you. Well, what do you know? Look who's next on our list. Richard Sherman, Seattle Seahawks, Madden NFL cover of the 2015 game. So, let's look at his stats of the previous year. He played for 16 games, combined tackles had 57, his total tackles were 45, and he had 12 assists. His pass deflection was 8. He intercepted the ball 4 times that season. He ran for 81 yards, his average was 20.2, and the longest he took it was 53 yards. Now that's actually outstanding. But let's look at the next season after he became the cover. He played for 16 games, combined tackles had 50, his total tackles were 33, he had 17 assists, his pass deflection was 14, which is really good, but he had only had 2 interceptions. He only took it 30 yards, his average was 15, and his longest was 26. Why do their stats keep decreasing right after they become the cover? Look who's next on the Madden NFL 16 cover. Odell Beckham Jr. Now we all know he was outstanding after that catch, but like I keep saying, let's look at the previous where he made that catch, that an insane catch. So 2015, he played for 15 games. He had 96 receptions. He had 1,450 yards that season. His average was 15.1 per catch. He had 96.7 yards per game. His longest catch was 87. He had 13 touchdowns and he had 2 fumbles. Now let's look after he was on the cover. He played for 16 games, so he played 1 extra game. He had 101 receptions, but he had lesser yards than his 2015 career, which was 1,367. His average was 13.5. His yards per game were 85.4. And he also had 2 fumbles that season. I keep telling y'all, this Madden curse is real. Well, what do you know again? Rob Gronkowski on the Madden NFL 17 cover gets cursed as well. Rob Gronkowski ended up in the 2015 season winning the Super Bowl. He played 15 games, had 72 receptions, had 1,176 yards. His average was 16.3. His yards per game were 78.4. He had 11 touchdowns and 0 fumbles. After Rob Gronkowski became the Madden NFL 17 cover, the next season in 2016, he only played 8 games, had 25 receptions, 540 yards. His average yards per game were 67.5. He only had 3 touchdowns. He only played 8 games because he got hurt. He had a real bad injury. Now, tell me that this curse ain't real. What are the odds of him becoming on the cover and the next year he gets hurt? Well, we got to our last Madden NFL cover. Tom Brady, the Madden NFL cover for the 2018 game. I'm not even going to say the stats because we all know last year he won. This guy is an absolute beast. He is one of the greatest players of all time to play this game. But look what happened when he was on the Madden 18 cover. The Philadelphia Eagles, the underdogs, won the game against the Patriots 41-33. Now, what are the odds of that happening where Nick Foles, who played the last few games before the season ended, took him to the playoffs, beat everybody else, then plays against one of the greatest players of all time, Tom Brady, and beats him? What happened to Tom Brady? What happened was the Madden NFL curse. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Join the Izzy crew. And put your comments in the comment section below. Give me your opinions. Is this actually a real curse? Or is it just how do I explain this? Or is it just a coincidence? Let me know in the comment section below. I want to see who gets cursed next. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Peace.